President pledges government support to empower the Scouts movement.
Leader of the JVP extends open invitation.
Bangladeshi national arrested with 3.5 kilograms of heroin.
Salinda Dissanayake to file a case seeking for damages amounting to 50 million rupees from Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayake.
A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to the news at 9. We are coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo, live on TV1 and Shakti TV. And bringing you the news tonight, I'm Joel Outskun. Joined with me is my co-anchor, Florin Rajendra. Good evening, Flo.
Good evening, Joe, and a very good evening to all our viewers. Before we move on to our top story, a reminder to our viewers that you can join the conversation on tonight's news bulletin on Twitter by following @Newsfirst_EN and using the hashtags featured on our main stories tonight. The 9th Scouts Jamboree was declared open today by President Maithripala Sirisena. The Scouts Jamboree commenced at the Jaffna Central College Stadium. The Scouts salute was accorded to welcome the President. The opening ceremony commenced thereafter.
Today brings back memories of my time as a scout who also participated in programs such as this of the Scout movement, just like these children. Sometimes I believe I became the president because I worked as a scout. Therefore, I firmly believe that a future president could be among the children here today. The Scout movement is not divided by religion, language, race or class. Unifying a country means unifying its people. In order to unify the nation's people, you must first unify the children. I assure you that any request made to strengthen the Scouts movement in Sri Lanka will be honoured by the government.
President Maithripala Sirisena presented a memento to Newsfirst for the human service extended to the Scouts movement in Sri Lanka.
Our electronic media sponsor, Sirasa Newsfirst, Mr. Yasarat Kamal Siri, Director General Manager.
Following a ceremony, the President engaged in cordial discussions with the Scouts at the Jamboree.
Today marks Nawang Full Moon Poya Day. Buddhists across the country observe many significant events of Buddhism that took place on this day.
The appointment of the two chief disciples of Gautama Buddha as Agrashravaka, namely Sariputta and Moggallana, took place on a Nawam full moon Poya day like today. Incidentally, it is on a Nawam full moon Poya day that the Buddha proclaimed for the first time a code of fundamental ethical precepts for the monks. It is on a Nawam full moon Poya day that Lord Buddha announced that within 3 months his Parinibbana would take place. This significant day was marked with a number of religious ceremonies around the island today. A large number of pilgrims left for Adams Peak given the long weekend. Our correspondent said that this had caused heavy traffic congestion along roads leading up to the sacred mountain. Meanwhile, a religious ceremony was held at the Singapura Sri Parakumbhiharaya in Valikanda under the auspices of Chaturika Sirivardhana today. The religious ceremony got underway as part of a pilgrimage which was organized with the aim of promoting a spiritual society. The 37th Nawam Mahaperahara, organized by the Hunulpitiya Gangarama Viharaya, took place today.
සාසනික වශයෙන් අරගෙන බලපුවාම අතිශයින්ම වැදගත් If you view this from a religious perspective, it is an extremely important full moon Poya day. Taking into consideration the significance of this event, the Navam Mahaperahara will parade the streets of Colombo in line with the Navam Poya day. On a day like this, as Buddhists, indulging in religious observances adds value to our lives and makes our eternal life more productive.
The annual Perahara of the Hunupitiya Gangarama Vihara is currently parading the streets for its second day today. We are now joined by Newsfirst Krishan Devasagam, who is currently standing by at the location. Krishan, over to you.
Today is the final day of the Navam Mahaperahara. Now, the Navam Mahaperahara commenced today this evening at the auspicious time of 7:05 p.m. under the auspices of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, among other distinguished members of the cabinet. Now, with the participation of 50 colourful elephants, as you can see, and the Tusker Migara on which the sacred relics are being carried, the Navam Mahaperahara is currently making its way through the streets of Colombo. Now, the streets behind me are lined with thousands of spectators, both local and foreign, who have made their way here since afternoon to experience and be a part of this colourful cultural pageant. Now, for those of you who missed the Navam Mahaperahara, the Perahara will be telecast on our sister channel Sirasa TV from 10:30 p.m. onwards tonight. Reporting from the Gangarama temple premises here in Colombo, I'm Krishan Devasagam for News First.
Well, thank you, Krishan. Still to come on the news tonight.
Home alone at 97.
A Bangladeshi man who attempted to smuggle 3.5 kilograms of heroin into the country was arrested at the Katunayake airport today.
Police Anti-Narcotics Bureau noted that the suspect was arrested following a search carried out on information provided by intelligence services. The suspect, who was travelling from Dhaka, Bangladesh, had concealed the drugs in his luggage. The police say the heroin has a value of about 35 million rupees. The police said the suspect would be produced before the Nigam Magistrates Court and would be interrogated for 7 days on detention orders. Incidentally, a Venezuelan woman who had swallowed 87 packets of cocaine and attempted to smuggle into the country while travelling from Brazil was also arrested by customs officers at the Katunayake airport recently. The packets of cocaine, valued at about 20 million rupees, were surgically removed from the woman's body at the Nigambo hospital. Today, News First met a 97-year-old woman who is in the twilight of her life, has no one to care for her. This is her tragic story.
We met this mother who raised 6 children with all her love and affection lying on a bed in an abandoned house in the Vatugedera area in Ambalangoda. The 97-year-old woman identified herself thus. Officers of the Ambalangoda police extended a caring hand today to this woman who has been deprived of the love of her children. The police officers admitted Batunona to the Balapitiya hospital and she is now receiving treatment. One of her sons reacted in front of the journalist when the police officers took his mother to the hospital.
Today on our investigative journalism segment, we take a look about a child who has been shunned by certain educational officials due to misconceptions about a global health issue.
The Education Director of the Northwestern Province and several senior education officials are currently in China on a duty mission. If the poor understanding among these education officials on HIV/AIDS could be rectified, at least in China, the fundamental rights of this child will be assured. The injustice caused to this child, who has been denied admission to a school due to rumors that his father had died of HIV/AIDS and that his mother too was HIV positive, was highlighted by Action TV on the 13th of this month. The reason for denying the child admission to the school, that is more suitable for admission based on the distance from the school to the child's home and the child's family background, was explained by the school principal.
I know that child does not attend the school. Why don't you speak to the child's parents? Yes, it is definitely because of the mother. The Montessori was not notified and the Montessori expelled the child. I sent 3 staff members from the school and said that this innocent child must be given admission to the school. However, I had to face numerous problems due to this request and I could not even report to school for a few days.
It is a globally accepted fact that one way of combating HIV/AIDS is by including affected individuals into society and by treating them as ordinary citizens. Although it has been medically confirmed that this child is not HIV/AIDS positive, he continues to be shunned by certain sections of society purely due to a misunderstanding and misconception about the disease. If the billions of rupees that have flowed into the country for over a decade from global funds to combat and prevent HIV/AIDS were used wisely, these common misconceptions in society, which are more dangerous than the disease itself, could have been prevented. The Kuliapitia Zonal Education Director had also taken wing to China on Saturday after informing the child's mother in writing about a decision pertaining to the child. The Zonal Education Director had thus instructed the mother in writing to hand over the child to probationary care. The decision to hand over the child to probationary care rests with the judiciary after taking into consideration a probationary report on issues regarding a child's guardianship, security and nourishment. Since the child in question does not face such issues, educating the Kuliapitia Zonal Education Director about the law existing in the country concerning children should have been considered before sending him on an official trip to China by spending public funds. Prior to travelling to China, the Zonal Education Director had avoided meeting the child's mother since Wednesday. Incidentally, officials from the Kuliapitia Zonal Education Office have not provided a response to allegations levelled by this mother, who charges that the Zonal Education Director has obtained his signature for 5 blank documents. The only education professional who has always stood for the rights of this child, who has been labelled as HIV positive, is this child's Montessori teacher, who is on a continuous battle to ensure that his right to education is guaranteed.
Speaking at a media meeting in Bandarawala yesterday, leader of the JVP MP Anuru Kumar Disanayaka extended an open invitation.
There are 2 types of people. There are those who were expelled from the party and those who left the party. So sometimes in this party, certain people who were expelled from the party for specific reasons cannot be taken back. But for those who left the party, there's an open invitation to rejoin the party. There will be no debate about it. There are those who intentionally conspire to split the party and form groups within the party. This is a very small group. There is no place within the party for such conspirators.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa attended an event held in Lunugambera, Hambantota last evening.
A felicitation ceremony for the elderly in the Ranasiripura area in Lunugambera was held under the auspices of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa yesterday. While graduates are screaming, asking for employment, they are being attacked. When the media expresses their free opinion, they are suppressed. They instill fear, saying that if they don't tread carefully, they will have to pay the consequences. So they will continue with this program, which is why we are working as an opposition. A section of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party have joined the government, but we, our section, cannot join the government. According to the Bandaranaike policy, there is absolutely no chance that we can run the country by joining hands with the United National Party. As of late, the Prime Minister is saying that this is the time where all of us must work together and that they are tired of arguing. They are saying this while lashing out at us.
Speaking at a meeting organised by the Socialist Youth Union in Ratnapura yesterday, MP Bimal Ratnayaka made the following statement.
The current Prime Minister is acting out of rage at present. He squirms when he sees the media's cameras. He says he will revoke licenses in Matara. Now Mr. Rajapaksa has awoken from the dead. He says that the media has been silenced and that the media does not talk about anything. We have received what little space we have today to speak of the limitless thievery of the Rajapaksas. The people are coming to understand this because of the space we have been given in the media. We know that the Rajapaksas bombed the media. Sirasa TV was bombed, Siyata TV was bombed, the Udayan newspaper office was bombed. In spite of all the bombing, these media institutions gave space for an opinion to be put forth. It is true that whenever the name Rajapaksa was mentioned, we would hear the beep sound. What has happened today is that Mr. Rajapaksa is saying that from the other side, that the media has been silent. On one hand, the person ruling the country is squirming in front of the media, and on the other hand, the person who used to rule the country needs the help of the media that he himself destroyed.
Minister of Irrigation and Water Resource Management Vijit Vijayamunizosa declared open a ministry coordinating office in Vallabhaya today.
The era where the 6% was shared among their family has come to an end. Now you own the bag and the chest. Maithripala Sirisena and Ranil Wickremesinghe are running a government where ownership of the treasury has been given to your representatives. Maithripala Sirisena, a King Sirisangabu of the modern era, will present a new constitution to parliament. But we kindly ask him to not sacrifice his life. Please do not put your neck out. He even pardoned the tiger who tried to assassinate him. He will pardon the others who have done wrong too. But he must maintain a positive vigilance. We cannot let anyone topple this government. Go on the straight path from now on. I say this to the joint opposition. Whether you are at sea, on top of a mountain or in any other nation, if you have committed a sin, you will have to pay the karma. It does not matter if it is Mahinda Rajapaksa or Vijayamunizosa. The more you enjoy the sin, the greater your sadness is when you have to pay for it.
Speaking at a media briefing today, UPFA parliamentarian Salinda Dissanayake responded to a statement made by Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayake. I see this statement made by him and the gravity of it as a severe problem to my political life. He says that I have taken a 50 million rupee loan from the Lanka Putra Bank. I have never taken a personal loan as such from the Lanka Putra Bank. So I have taken a decision regarding this false statement which has been made. Because of the injustice caused to me, I have decided to file a case seeking damages amounting to 50 million rupees. Now what Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayake is saying is that I took a personal loan of 50 million rupees. But I have not taken such a loan. I have however taken money for an agricultural company for the sake of the farmers of this country. It was not 50 million though.
Up next it's our special segment, The Real Story.
MP Udaya Gamampila, United People's Freedom Alliance, Electoral District, Colombo, Party, Pivituru Hello Urume, Position in Party, Leader, elected to Parliament from the UPFA. Urges the public to donate 100 rupees each for his campaign during the previously held Provincial Council election. Steps down from his ministerial position in the Western Provincial Council following a decision made by the Jatika Hello Urume to pledge their support to then presidential candidate Maithripala Sirisena. Deviates from the decision of the JHU and repledges his support to Mahinda Rajapaksa, forms a new party called the Pivituru Hello Urume. A group of representatives of the Pivituru Hello Urume leave the party and rejoin the JHU, alleging that they were deceived by Gamampila. Udaya Gamampila accused of defrauding 4.1 million rupees from a company he co-founded with an Australian national. Criminal Investigations Department questions Gamampila over the accusations. Submissions made to accept the Pivituru Hello Urume led by him as a party in Parliament rejected. Speaker warns Udaya Gamampila for not accepting the decision of the Speaker in Parliament. Gamampila is a political orphan who broke away from the Jatika Hello Urume and formed a new party. Last week there was a 3-day workshop on oversight committees. I saw Gamampila at the workshop too. I am not sure if he was there with good intentions or if he just wanted the chairmanship from among the 16 chairmen who are to be appointed to these subcommittees. He even spoke quite cordially with the Prime Minister as well. Gamampila cannot be trusted. Gamampila is a parliamentarian who first came out with Patali Champika supporting one candidate and the very next day changed sides again and made his way into Parliament by leaning towards Mahinda.
Still in local news, Minister of Housing and Construction Sajid Premadasa laid the foundation stone for a model village of the Samatha Relief Program today.
Construction of the Berulihela model village in Nunugambera Hambantota commenced today. This model village has been named as Sadisigama. The era of my father, where he was accused of sewing undergarments for foreigners, comes to my mind today, because even now there are accusations that the country is being betrayed by signing trade agreements saying that this isn't good for the country's security, and so on and so forth. It is better if they serve for themselves like frogs in a well, because that is what happened in the past, didn't it? They served for themselves. There is a new phobia which is being created now, the phobia of creating 1 million jobs. What a joke! What I am asking is, will these 1 million jobs be created and then be given to the family members of Ranil Wickremesinghe or the family members of the government ministers? No, these 1 million jobs are being created for children of farmers, fishermen, workers and the small man who has reached the top from the lowest living standards with the education he obtained with the use of an oil lamp. Our government is based on the power of the people. So with the power of the people, we will prove that we can achieve this project of 1 million jobs.
රැකියා ලක්ෂ 10 ව්‍යාපෘතිය අපි කරන එක කරනවාමයි.
Have we forgotten?
The National Audit Act, a key feature of the incumbent government's 100-day program. In a memorandum of understanding signed between the United National Front for Good Governance and the United National Party during the run-up for the previously held general election, a pledge was made to bring about the National Audit Act among many other promises. The act was included in another agreement signed between the collective of civil organizations, trade unions and political parties and United National Front for Good Governance.
Although the National Audit Act was to be tabled a few days ago, the bill is being examined by the Attorney General's Department. The Right to Information Act has been provided through our 100-day program. There were several issues pertaining to the National Audit Act. However, these have been resolved.
What has happened to the National Audit Act?
The National Audit Act must be introduced through the establishment of a National Audit Commission because the society needs a substantial audit on the country's state resources and public property. So talk of establishing a National Audit Commission and introducing an Audit Act was for the sole purpose of providing society with their security. However, today we see that talks on these matters have been swept under the carpet. Why? Because they will first have to conduct an audit on the central bank and look into the treasury bond scam and how it was carried out. So this coalition government has failed to safeguard the trust the people of this country place on several matters, including this National Audit Act. So we ask this coalition, has the National Audit Act been forgotten? Or if such an act is brought forth, will those in the government today, just like the previous government, fall into trouble and be accused of certain charges? Is this why discussions on this act have been neglected to prevent this from happening? As the Voice Against Corruption movement, we urge this government to fulfill the promises it made to the people and work according to the mandate given to them.
Have we forgotten?
In order for Sri Lanka to gain prominence in the world of sport, it will be necessary to upgrade our technology and facilities. Participating in the Inside Sports program telecast on Sirasa TV yesterday, South Asian Games gold medalist Himasha Eshan, Rumeshika Ratnayaka and Matthew Abesinghe as well as his coach expressed their views on the matter.
If I am to get overseas training, I choose to be trained in the United States because I believe that I can improve my skills there. No one in South Asia has run faster than 10 seconds. That is what I intend on achieving. The required technology is still not available in Sri Lanka in terms of how we make our starts, run the middle lengths, how to run the last 10 meters and how we finish the race. We can increase our speeds by a few seconds with the proper methods, but our coaches have not got them as yet. We have not been informed either. What I am saying is that if we get these facilities, I believe that we can move forward because there are many talented athletes in the country.
I am aiming for a scholarship because if I train with new technology, I believe that I can move to a higher level than this. Even after coming this far, I do not have a single sponsorship. I believe that if sportsmen and women get sponsorships, it would help.
Swimming is a sport which you cannot train for just 2 months. We know that every 4 years there is an Olympic Games, Asian Games and Commonwealth Games. So for at least these known competitions, we should train 4 years prior to them. No matter what is said, there are talented children in Sri Lanka. The conflict between the Sports Ministry and the Education Ministry is a cause for these athletes being unable to progress further. Athletes give up the sport during their prime years, and they do this because of a fault in the education system, which means they go looking for employment.
Well, the sports minister has been extremely helpful. I think he's the first, since I came to Sri Lanka in 2010, I think there have been 3 sports ministers. I think he's definitely the most active, and I think that he's willing to help us as much as we want. So I think if I go to him and I tell him, or ask him rather, the things that I need, I think that he'll be definitely willing to help me.